Hello, my name is Bethany. If you're new here, welcome. Today we're doing something a little bit differently on my channel. I usually do vlogs, whether it be daily vlogs or travel vlogs, but today is a travel prep video. So travel is one of my favorite things. I love travel in general. I love traveling to Disney, and today we're gonna plan a Disney trip that we have coming up. I'm absolutely going to put in tips and tricks that I know from Disneyland and Disney World that I've learned over the course of my planning and things that I think might be helpful for you. So if you do have a trip coming up, I think this video might be helpful. Also, if you have a trip coming up and you have small kids, I already did a video on doing Walt Disney World with small kids. I'll link that below for you. So let's get going. One more disclaimer. You will notice that there is no talk of airfare or hotels in this video. I will briefly touch on hotels, but I didn't do the booking of the hotels or the airfare for this trip. I rarely do. Bob's has the Hilton Honors app through his work, and he pretty much always takes care of the airfare, and then it's kind of like 50-50. He probably 80-20, honestly, that he does the plane tickets for trips. So that's just kind of like how it works out for us. So I'm not really going to talk about it in there. I think those things, I'm sure there's nuance to them, but I don't know. I don't have any information for you on that. Okay, cool. This trip actually has 3 parts. So the first leg, we will fly out from DFW to Las Vegas, where Bobby's sister and our niece live. We have not seen them in years. This trip was actually supposed to happen back in 2020. We all know what happened with that, so it's been pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and we're finally getting to do it, and we're super excited. So we'll be staying with them. I probably won't vlog much, if any, while we're with them, but the rest of the trip I will be vlogging. Once our time in Las Vegas is done, we will rent a car and drive to San Diego to go to the San Diego Zoo, spend one night in San Diego, and then go to the zoo the next day. When I first pitched the idea of Disneyland to Olive, she was like, "Is there an animal kingdom?" I was like, "No, there's not." And so I started thinking, I was like, maybe there's a zoo in Las Vegas, and Bobby was like, "No, this is what we're doing. We're going to San Diego." I was like, "Oh, heck yeah," because this is like, you know, world-renowned zoo. Once we leave San Diego, we'll be driving to Anaheim, where we will be going in for Disneyland. We are not staying on property. I will say for Disneyland, especially, you can really save money, or rather, you're gonna spend a lot of money to stay on property in Disneyland. There are only 2 Disneyland hotels, and they're very pricey, but there are a ton of hotels walkable within the area. The place that we're staying is like 2 blocks, I think, or a quarter mile from the parks. So take that into consideration when you are doing the pros and cons. I would say the one thing that we're not getting that you would get if you stayed on property is the early theme park entry. We're not getting that. Some of the Good Neighbor hotels in Florida will do early theme park entry, or like the late night or whatever they have. So definitely check into that because staying off property will be cheaper. It's a lot cheaper for us because we almost always are using points and discounts and stuff that we have through his work travel. Once we're in Anaheim, we're going to be doing 2 Disneyland days and 1 Disney California Adventure Day. We are not doing Park Hopper. Park Hopper is an additional $60 per ticket per day, and we decided we want to spend our money elsewhere. So we're gonna do 2 Disneyland days. I reached out to some Disneyland creators and I was like, if you only had 3 days in Disneyland in small kids, like what would you do? And they're like, "Oh, I think you should do the 2 days in Disneyland and the 1 in the Disney California Adventure." So that's what we're doing. Our departure day, we have a breakfast with Mickey and friends at one of the hotels, and then we're coming back. That's like the overview of what we're doing. Now let's get into like planning it. Step 1. Pick your dates. You will need a theme park reservation in order to book dining, and you can book your dining 60 days in advance. So you need to make sure you purchase your tickets 61 days in advance. You want to have everything linked up and ready to go in the morning for 8 a.m. Central Time for Disneyland, or 5 a.m. Central Time for Disney World. It's 6 a.m. local time to the park is what time the dining opens, if that makes sense. If you log on before that, it will show that the date is available and you can click on it, but when you click to find a reservation, it will give you an error message that looks like 2 arrows kind of like chasing each other, and that means that it hasn't opened yet. Trust me, I've been up at 4 o'clock. I've like read on the online, sometimes they open up early. they don't. In my experience, they don't open until that right at 6 o'clock local time. So just letting you know. Oh, and another important detail is if you're booking a Walt Disney World trip, you only need to pay $200 for a deposit in order to get your reservation. But with Disneyland, you had to pay for the whole thing. So that's why we waited longer to make that purchase. One more thing that's been kind of confusing for me as I'm learning, because I really knew nothing about Disneyland or the West Coast parks, anything like this before. So what's been kind of confusing for me is the nomenclature, because on the West Coast there are two parks. There is the Disney California Adventure, and then there's the OG Disneyland park. But collectively, the whole resort, like both parks and the hotel, is called the Disneyland Resort. So it's a little confusing. So when I'm comparing Disneyland to Disney World, I'll just call it Disneyland, and I'll try to be more specific when I'm talking about Disney California Adventure. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'll try to be more specific when I'm talking about differentiating between the two, because that can be confusing. That being said, let's go back in time to February when I made the dining reservations, and you guys can come along and snag those dining reservations with me. Okay, I'm so excited. Good morning. I am so excited. It is 8:05, so dining reservations open up on the West Coast at 6 a.m. Pacific time, which translates to 8 a.m. Central time. So I went ahead and set my alarm for 7:59 and logged into the Disneyland app and pulled up the reservation I wanted, and then I just kept refreshing, and I really wanted to get Oga's Cantina for today. That's the bar in Star Wars Land. They have like appetizers too, but it's really cool. We have never been there in Disney World. They also have one in Disney World, but we didn't go. So I really wanted to try to get us a reservation to Oga's, and yesterday I was unable to get us a reservation there. They were all gone when I logged in. We're gonna pull up the Disneyland app, and we're gonna go to My Future Plans. I'll show you what we have. So the first night we have our Goofy character dining. That's in the Disneyland Hotel. You obviously don't need a park reservation to do that character experience. So that's what we're doing on our arrival day. And then Tuesday's our first day in Disneyland. I went ahead and booked this yesterday. I wanted to do this character breakfast in Disneyland Park, and this was the only time for it. It was 8:40. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cancel that reservation, because I'll show you why. Next day, Wednesday at 10:40, which is a much better time. So I'm gonna cancel my one for yesterday now that I have that 10:40 one. And looky, I got a 6:25. What a bomb time for Oga's. I'm jacked. Those are probably the only dining reservations I'm gonna make. I think the rest of the stuff we can do like mobile order and just snack around the park. I've been doing a ton of research. I'm so excited. But this is just a perfect example of, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Fiddle faddle, as Molly from Mammoth Club says. Just keep refreshing the app and keep checking back every couple days, because people do cancel their reservations. On our last Disney World trip, we went to Cinderella's Royal Table and Be Our Guest, and those are both pretty difficult reservations to get, and I was not able to get those on my first try. I kept checking back after the first couple of weeks, and I was able to get those. Tomorrow will be our final park day. We're gonna be in Disney California Adventure. I'm gonna try to get us Lamplight Lounge. So that's what I've got left to get us. We might try to do a character meal on our last day, but that's pretty much it. So this is so much part of the magic, so much part of the fun for me is like doing the planning, trying to get the reservations, like, you know, like it's a game for me, and I freaking love it. And that's why I think I should be a travel agent. I feel like doing it on a large scale would be difficult, but I think it would be so much fun to just have like a couple of trips at a time to just be customizing for people, where I can really like find out what they like, what they want to do, what they want to eat, and then like help them have a fun trip. You think that'd be a good idea too? Okay. I don't know. Anyways, this just, every time I start planning a Disney trip, I'm like, man, I just love doing this. Good morning. It is 4 minutes until 8 o'clock on Sunday, February 19th. And today is the day that I get to schedule our dining for California Adventure. I'm about to run to Walmart. That's why I'm in the car. But I just grabbed my camera real quick, because while I'm waiting for the car to warm up, it's going to be time, and you guys can see if we get lamplight. I hope so. Alright, so my alarm just went off. 7:59. So we are going to pull up the Disneyland app. It is a separate app from the My Disney Experience app, but they're exactly the same. So if you know how to use the My Disney experience, you'll be fine. Lamplight Lounge, reserved dining. For people. Let's find our date. It's gonna be the 20th. Lunch. We got some. Let's do 125. But here we go. They always try to add on these little cakes. We always say no. Phone number. We did it. We have 4 reservation for Lamplight Lounge. We did it. So this will conclude our dining planning for the park days. Might try to get a character meal at one of the hotels for our departure day in the morning. So we might be doing that tomorrow, but otherwise, we did it. This was like the fastest, most painless dining process I've ever done. Like, it usually takes me like weeks to get all the reservations that I want. Granted, we're usually staying, when we go to Walt Disney World, we're staying for like a week rather than like 3 days. So, but yeah, I'm super excited. We're going to Lamplight. Hope to see you guys there in a couple months. So yeah, now I'm gonna go get some groceries for the week. I'll see you guys later. Bye. We're back. Did you pick your dates? You got your dates picked, figured out? You got your park reservation? You have to have a park ticket and a park reservation. 2 separate things for your days. We actually ended up changing our park reservations after I had already booked our tickets for our dates. I found out that the Disneyland After Hours was coming back, and it's actually happening while we're there. It's an event that runs late. It runs until I think 1 a.m., which would be like 3 a.m. our time. So it's just not gonna be for us this time with the girls. But I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. However, I was kind of bummed because I was like, oh man, the park is going to close early that day. And we don't have a park hopper, so we can't go over to California Adventure. So I ended up flipping the California Adventure day with one of the Disneyland days because the event's happening both nights that we're there. So one of the nights that we're there, Disneyland will close early, the Disneyland park, and we'll just peace out then. It'll be 8 o'clock. I mean, we'll probably be done anyways. But you know how we are when we go to the parks, right? We rope drop till close. Is that what they call it? Anyway, so I just went into my app and I canceled the reservation, the park reservations that I had. It doesn't cancel your ticket, and then I switched for the dates. This next thing is just a Bethany thing. This is just a little peek inside my brain, because from as long as I can remember in school, all the way up through college, through everything, I have always been someone who's very like visual and kinesthetic. Am I saying that word right? Where I need to be doing something and I need to be seeing it. So what I've done from the history of whatever is I'll take in like whatever information I need to learn, needs to go in my brain. I take it, I read it, then I write it, and then like I'll rewrite it like a million times. That's how like I take in information. So I'm not doing it so much. Like that's when I'm like doing it for school, the like rewriting, obviously. I've never been great with like spatial awareness. Anyone who knows me in real life will know this because I am very clumsy. I've been really working on like coming into my body more so that my mind is not like 3 steps ahead of my body and I'm not bumping into things. But yeah, that's just not one of my strong suits. So I've really been working on my awareness, my spatial and situational awareness. And in order to figure out the map, in order to get the lay of the land of a place that I've never been, figure out these handy maps. Look at the castle, isn't she pretty? Then we got the wheel over here, can you see? I can't even see. I'm trying to see, I can't even see. Oh my gosh. So I did this, and this is very helpful for me. This helps me get it into my head, and that way when we're there, you know, you have the app with directions that'll like show you where to go. But this just makes me feel so much more comfortable. And I'm like, oh yeah, Tomorrowland is just gonna be right off to the right, like way sooner than it is in Disney World, okay? Anyways, so that's what I'm doing. I wrote attractions in and then I highlighted them according to height requirements. When you're planning your trip, if you have kids, you wanna make sure you check the height requirements before you go so you don't hype them up for a ride that they are not actually gonna be able to do. Because if they're not tall enough, they won't be able to ride. I wrote them all here. You can just Google like Disneyland height requirements, but I wrote them all out here because like I said, it helps me remember it, and it'll be more likely that I'm like, oh yeah, Olive can ride that one because I've written it and I've seen it in different colors and stuff. So you don't need to write them all out, but you do need to check and see what your kid's going to be able to ride and manage those expectations. Also, if your kid is scared of the dark or sensitive, Olive is very scared of the dark. So and she's been traumatized by like Fire in the Hole. That one had like a dark pitch black hole, and she's been traumatized. So she doesn't like really big scary rides. So I try to like tell her like what it's going to be like before we get on it, so she knows if she wants to try it or not. So just know your kid. There's no need to cause unnecessary trauma like we have with ours. Learn from my mistakes. Now we have my handy dandy computer paper. Again, back to college Bethany. Always diagramming stuff out on my computer paper. So this is our Disneyland day. It's really like for both of them. I mean, it's specific to one day. Like one day we have dining reservations and one day we don't. But I mean, we're kind of going to do the same things and just try to hit the things we missed or our favorite things. So I have here kind of when we get there, we can make our first lightning lane upon entering the park. The baby's care center is on Main Street across from Plaza Inn. The baby care centers are something really cool. All the Disney parks have baby care centers, and it's really cool because if you are in a pinch and you need diapers, you need wipes, you need formula, baby food, like that kind of thing, they should have a stock of that there. And I have notes here. I have that out. Because I did go ahead and purchase the lightning lane for us in advance, so we are going to have lightning lanes, but pretty much all the Fantasyland rides don't qualify for lightning lanes. So I wrote out all those. These are the Fantasyland rides that don't qualify for lightning lane. That's what we'll be rope dropping to try to get those when the crowds are lower. And then I can be stacking up our lightning lanes hopefully in the meantime. Then we have on our second day, we have a character breakfast at Plaza Inn, and we have, I put some shows that we have. Oh, you can't see that, can you? The Magic Happens parade. I put down like when all the parades are and stuff. And then over here, I have some food options. In order to figure out what kind of food to get, I have two main sources. I have Mammoth Club, Molly, Ellen, and Max of Mammoth Club. Love them, love their content. They're super entertaining and fun, but their content is like so informative. Molly is a walking Disney encyclopedia, and she knows so much. Alan knows a lot about cooking and a lot about food, so they bring a lot to the table as far as information in their content, and that's very helpful, and they're also super fun. Also, Disney Food Blog is always a good place to go. They cover Disney news once a week, and they'll cover all the food with the new festivals and everything that comes out. So my two main sources. So I really just binged a lot of their content and then wrote down what sounded good to me. That's what we're doing. And then same thing with our California Adventure. We have our white paper. We have what time the park opens. We have Lightning Lane upon entry. We have some rides that are excluded from Lightning Lane, and then just kind of a general game plan for the day. If I could give you another tip, I would say this. Like, I do this very detailed, planned out plan for us, but I've also gone through like 75 different versions of it that we could do. And if we do end up doing one of those different versions, that's okay too. Or maybe one that I didn't think of. You just have to kind of think of your itinerary as guidelines, like Pirates of the Caribbean. That probably didn't sound like him at all. But you hope that it goes according to plan. That's what you plan for, that's what you hope, that's what we want. But life happens, and even in Disney World, life happens, sadly. I think that's all I have for Disneyland. I thought I had more to say. I'll show this more in my packing video, but I went ahead and started a packing list. I do this for pretty much every trip we go on. I pack for myself and the girls, and I write out everything that we need, and then I check it off as I put it in the suitcase. So that's my method. Another plug, my sister has a podcast called Me as Mom, and I'm going to be on it in March. So by the time this video is live, I will have already been on it. And I made out some notes. My debut episode is going to be about Disney and like taking kids to Disney. And so I made just like some general like notes. And so go ahead, I'll try to link that too for you. So go support her if you like podcasts and mom. For the San Diego Zoo, we are going to get there at opening. It opens at 9, but I think we're going to get there at 8. Yes, we're going to get at the park at 8 because we can get in at 8:30, but just not get into where the animals are until 9. We want to get an early start because we are driving to Anaheim in the afternoon, and I've heard that traffic can be somewhat of an issue in LA. I told Olive that it's a really big zoo, and while we are going to get there and open and we can stay all the way to close, I don't know if we'll get to see every single animal. So we went through the website and I had her tell me like what were her top things that she wanted to see. They were mostly reptiles, saltwater crocodile. The pandas aren't there anymore. I had no idea, but the pandas aren't there anymore. She wants to see pretty much everything. So I wrote down kind of like the areas and where some things are. They have some attractions there too. They have, and I wrote down like the attractions. They have like a 4D theater that cost extra, self-guided botanical tours free. They have a double-decker bus tour that's free, where it's like narrated. I think we'll probably do that. Wildlife presentations throughout the day, and then they have like a little mini train, but also they have like sky buckets, like an aerial gondola system. It costs extra to ride, but I love a Skyliner, so do that. It'll be just like we're in Disney World. Kind of. That is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something or had a good time. And our Disney vlogs are going to be coming really soon. Maybe the next vlog, I'm not sure. So we'll see those. Hopefully we had a good time, and I'll see you there. Bye!